Hey, Pastor Kyle here. Thank you for joining me on this 2020 Holy Week video devotion series. And it's Friday, which means it's Good Friday of Holy Week. And the story of Jesus' crucifixion, which was the culmination of Jesus' ministry here on earth. Jesus' work finished on the cross, complete, amazing. God's love, what an expression of God's love, what an expression of any love. Hard to put into words. One aspect of it came to mind today, something I had not thought of before. First, a little story that I remember back when I was learning how to drive and had done the coursework and had ridden with a number of times with my mom in her cool car, and all the things that come with that. But it was just about time for the official behind the wheel. I was thrilled. I was excited to do it, and at the same time, I was really scared, especially when it became when I thought about getting on the freeway and things like that. So, kind of just before I was about to start behind the wheel, I remember it seemed like everywhere I turned, or riding with mom, or driving with my permit, everywhere I turned was a vehicle that said, or frequently anyway, there was a vehicle that said on the bumper, "student driver," and it just made me. It was like a cruel reinforcement of what was coming. The impending doom, which of course turned out just fine. I wonder sometimes how it would have been for Jesus. Back in Matthew 21, this is the third time that Jesus tells his disciples, Matthew 20, verse 17, is that Jesus was going up to Jerusalem. On the way, he took the 12 aside, and he said to them, "We're going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man," meaning himself, "the Son of Man will be delivered over to the chief priests and the teachers of the law, delivered over to the authorities, the religious leaders, who had a lot of power in that country, considering a lot of power underneath, of course, Roman Empire. But they had a lot of power and authority. The Son of Man will be delivered over to the chief priests and the teachers of the law, and they will condemn him to death, and will hand him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and flogged and crucified." Jesus told them over and over again, well, at least that was the third time that was recorded, that was going to happen to him, that was what was ahead for him. I looked up some things on crucifixion in Wikipedia. Crucifixion was most often performed to dissuade its witnesses from perpetrating similar, usually particularly heinous, crimes. Victims were sometimes left on display after death as a warning to any other potential criminals. Crucifixion was usually intended to provide a death that was particularly slow, painful, hence the term excruciating, literally out of crucifying, cruciating, gruesome, humiliating, and public, using whatever means were most expedient for that goal. Crosses were scattered here and there alongside roads or up on hills where people passing by, people in populated areas, could see people executed, people hanging, people humiliated, people in extreme agony, people thrown away. And most of them, or who knows, we have no idea what the percentage was, but certainly a number of them had been caught in crimes. But of course we know Jesus was tried and there was no crime, but was executed in this way anyway. But here's the thing. Many times in Jesus' life he had passed by. He had to have seen others executed in the same way. Must have seen at times their agony. Certainly would have seen the humiliation. Sometimes I feel faint almost thinking about it. And yet Jesus still did it. Still headed in the same direction. What would that have been like for him to know that that was his destiny? That's where he was going. And to see it and be reminded of it over and over and over. Scripture tells us, Jesus said, or that Jesus did it because of the joy of knowing of what it would do for us. How we would be united with him. How we would be made alive. How the things like death and disease and hatred and evil that we face and that are a part of this life, you can deny it all you want. You can live as though that's not the case. It is the case all the time. Other people in the world or at other times in history, it was more real to them because it was all around them. But it's reality. Jesus, for the joy set before him, knowing the benefit to us, endured the cross, scorning its shame, thumbing his nose at the shame, and went willingly. That's Good Friday. Peace be with you.